Hello, my loves, and welcome to another episode of the High Ticket Coach podcast. Your host here, Michelle Hext. It honestly feels like it's been 3 weeks since I recorded the last podcast, but it's only been a week. All right, I am going to jump in today with a topic that I think most people can use at some point or another in their entrepreneurial journey, and that is when you have a strong desire to create a season of winning or a season of what? Season of success. Before I get onto that, I want to just remind you, if you don't know about this yet, but in July, I'm hosting you can tell it's been the weekend, a free challenge called Build Your High Ticket Sales Engine. It's running in July from the 22nd is when the first content drop will happen. The first live Q&A will happen the next day. Anyway, it's a bunch of fun that I know you are not going to want to miss. And I'm going to teach you how to get really clear on your high ticket offer, build a sales engine that's going to deliver leads and sales to you on repeat, and also focus on precision messaging. So your messaging actually gets cut through and the people that you want to see it actually start to pay attention. So if that's something that you want to be a part of, check the show notes because the link will be in there. And as always, you can head to my website. All right, let's dive into what I would do if I wanted to create a season of winning. If you've been in this game a while, you will have had one of these seasons, right? It's where you have had your head down, you've been working hard towards something, and suddenly it all starts to pay off and you're in the zone. Suddenly the sales are coming in easily. Suddenly your DMs are full. Suddenly everybody's responding to your emails. It's just a season where everything feels easy and light and flowy. And what I want you to know is that's how business can actually feel all of the time. But we're human, and sometimes we can get ourselves off into a ditch because we start overthinking, or we start chasing something that's bright and shiny, or we just feel like the thing that we're working on isn't working. It's not working the way we want it to. So when I have in previous years got out of that loop, when I felt like I was spat out of the vortex, I guess, where I just don't feel it's easy, when I feel like I've been really struggling and it just feels harder to achieve, the same result, the result that once felt easy. And so I should not record these on Monday mornings because most of the weekend I'm just chilling, and I don't know, I go into a little bit of hibernation and I come out on a Monday morning and it's like trying to get my words together. All right. So this is typically what I do. I looked back at this and I always think that our success leaves clues, right? The things that have worked for us in the past can work for us again. Now, that might not mean a particular strategy is going to do the exact same thing that it did last time, but our ability to create a winning season is within us, right? We've done it before. We've done it probably a bunch of times before. And that winning season, there are clues in the things that you did. And for me, I know it's always the same. And so the very first thing that I need to do is just stop doing everything, because I feel if I'm getting to a point where I'm feeling a little bit scattered, where things feel a little bit chaotic, where I feel like I'm producing a lot of content, but then I'm like, oh, that wasn't my best work, or that's not really what I wanted to say, or how I wanted to say it, or didn't I actually only plan to talk about this thing or whatever, right? So I feel like my messaging is just a little bit off. I feel like there's a misalignment there. And it doesn't feel easy. It just feels a little bit, bleh. So I stop. I stop doing everything, and I turn everything off. I don't look at another thing. Not that I do a lot of consumption anyway. I'm a creator. I don't consume a lot. I don't know who anybody is on the internet. I'm in my own little kind of bubble most of the time, right? And so I make sure that I go inward and I sit with myself and I connect with the parts of me that are always going to be part of me and the parts of me that I really like, right? And the things that I know have traditionally worked for me for years and years. So one of the clues for me usually is, or one of the triggers for me is like, put your prices up. It's time to put your prices up. Something elevates for me when I put my prices up and they feel more aligned with the service that I'm providing and the outcomes that I'm delivering. So typically that's something that I need to do. And I don't arrive at that decision straight away, though. It is this deep connection with myself. It's, spending time with pen and paper and writing things like, what are some of the things that I have helped my clients achieve that just really remind me that, I'm really good at this. And then I'll also look at things like, and out of all of the results that I've helped my clients create, which ones felt the best? Which ones felt the easiest? Which ones felt like I could have done that all day long with my hands tied behind my back? Because what I will often find is that I've moved a little bit out of maybe the type of client that I'm working that I like to work with. That doesn't happen these days, but back in the day it was like, oh, maybe I'm working with, I don't know, there's maybe just something. It could even just have been one client that just wasn't quite aligned. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. I'm going to wrap up that package and then I'm not going to work with this client anymore or whatever, right? So I'm looking for the things that are taking me out of my sweet spot. I guess ultimately that's the whole point of this practice. What is moving me out of my sweet spot? What is making me feel less powerful, less aligned, less me at my very, very best? And you will find those things, right? They'll probably come to mind pretty quickly. And so our job is just to look at these things and make the decision that, oh, okay, maybe my standards have slipped, or maybe, this situation has evolved into something that I couldn't foresee. I get it now, and now I understand, and I won't repeat that, or whatever it is, right? But first you have to stop, then you've got to check in with yourself, and then you've got to ask yourself, why am I not in the zone? What's pulling me out of the zone? The clues are going to be there, so have a look at them. And then I want you to really connect with yourself around your highest level version of yourself. What is the you that is the most fully expressed, aligned, at ease person or entrepreneur running your business, doing business your way, running your brand, being the ambassador of your brand? How are you fully expressed? How are you showing up? What is different? And then when you're there and you've got all this information, you're going to be feeling pretty potent by now. And also, if you're looking at this idea of who is my ultimate, highest level version self, where I feel fully expressed and I'm in the zone. So have a look at why you're not feeling that. And it's usually going to be around that kind of step 2, let's call it, where we're looking at where we've been pulled out of alignment. Because for the most part, in my experience anyway, it's never been about doing more, learning more, adding more. It's always been about removing the crap that has started to clutter up around me so that I can see more clearly what the next move is meant to be. And in my experience, for me, it's always been that I've outgrown something. Things need to evolve. I need to put prices up. I need stronger, boundaries around something. Although, my boundaries are pretty good, but you know what I'm saying, right? And so we do this tidy up of our own emotional, mental, energetic kind of stuff. We go and tidy all of that up, and we rid ourselves of anything that's pulling us out of our sweet spot and, disempowering us in any way, shape, or form. So that's the first piece of work, right? we have to focus on ourselves, because I honestly believe that our ability to not just earn, but our ability to attract the types of clients that we want and the money that we want, the following that we want, all the things, is only going to grow to the same proportion as our self-development, our personal development, how we see ourselves. If we feel like we are not growing, if we feel like we are shrinking, honestly, that non-growing period, if we feel like we're not growing and expanding, we can't create more. We can't create bigger. So we have to get ourselves in this energetic space of feeling like we are ready to expand, and we feel lit up by that whole process, because when we do that, then we're going to create something incredible from there. So the first thing is that energetic cleanup, this idea of expanding into something. And as I say, for me, it is never about adding things. It's about removing things and cleaning up that like energetic clutter that may have built up around me. I'm sure you understand what I mean. Okay, so once that stuff has been done, the next thing that I'm going to look at is what do I want to sell? What is the offer that is going to light me up and feel really exciting? And for me, because I know better now, and because this is the way that I've been running my business for a long time, I'm going to look at a signature offer that is 12 months in length and creates predictable monthly recurring revenue, like my mastermind product. I don't know. I can't remember the last time that I was having to sell one thing once and then having to do it every month to generate revenue. That just felt exhausting to me. And so for me, it's always been a high ticket monthly recurring revenue type of product. And yeah, my high ticket mastermind, there are people that pay in full, but the vast majority pay the monthly payment plan, which is how I like it, because I like that MRR. I like that monthly recurring revenue. I like revenue stability in my business. I just like it. It just feels safe for me, and it calms my nervous system. And it's just the way that I operate, and I wouldn't do it any other way these days. So if I was going to create a season of winning, I would do that mindset stuff, and then I would get locked in on what is this one offer that I want to sell, and you have to get fully behind it. So it's not an offer that looks good on paper, or it's not a good offer because, I don't know, other people are selling something similar and they seem to be doing really well selling that product. So I think I'm going to sell something similar, or because, I don't know, whatever reason, right? This offer should not be a should. It should be I get to create an offer that feels incredible. So you want a signature offer that positions you, right? You want a signature offer that solves problems in the market, and you know without a shadow of a doubt that you can solve that problem, and you're excited to solve the problem. You're excited to deliver that transformation. You're excited to work with the types of people that this offer is going to attract. You've got to be excited about the offer, and you've got to be excited about your ability to deliver the result. You've got to get excited about the outcome. So for me, whenever a client signs up for my mastermind program, I get excited for them because I know a couple of things. I know that they're going to be able to take a big sigh of relief, because what that means is they can stop fucking around and running around the internet trying to make things work, trying 100 million different things every month. And I'm going to get them to breathe, and we're going to simplify things. And I know what working with me will do for them. And it's not just about the results. It's not just about the sales. So just this last week, I had one of my masterminders inside the WhatsApp group send us a message where she said something along the lines of, sorry, I missed the call. I was running late for something or whatever, but I just wanted to update you that I sold my third mastermind place from my challenge. So far it's a $30,000 launch. And so I looked at that, and that's great. Like, I love that. So this particular client has an MRR product. So I didn't ask whether there's paid in full or payment plans or whatever. I'm just assuming it's a similar mix to mine, where it's like 80% pay in full and the rest are monthly recurring revenue. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So very excited about that. But the next message that I sent that client is, look, I know that this launch felt a little bit stressful, and I know there were times when you felt like it wasn't working, which is fine, that's normal. But there was also this component of misalignment where you wanted to shift the messaging halfway through and you couldn't because you'd already started that. So I'm excited to do this again with you, but let's do it without the stress. Let's do it so that it's more aligned. And that's the thing, right? Even when things aren't working 100% perfectly, my clients are still doing those $30,000 launches. So my point is that, what was my point? I had a point. So when I look at that, it's like, she knows she can deliver that offer without a doubt. She's fully behind the offer. So we had a little issue with the marketing. I don't know where I was going with that. I was going somewhere with it. It had a point. I'm going to listen back to this and it's like, how did I lose track of thought? Anyway, doesn't matter. What do I want to say? So the offer is something that you've got to really fully stand behind, right? And stop jumping all over the place. And when we look at something like this particular client, she has a mastermind product. This is where I was going, I guess. Mastermind product, monthly recurring revenue, and then we get to build out how we sell it. But the offer has to be something that you stand behind. And I know I'm repeating myself 100 times and my brain is scrambling trying to think of what the fuck was I trying to say. But it's okay. Let me just take a little breather. All right. So the first thing is the offer, right? You've got to have this offer that you fully get behind, because if you aren't fully behind the offer, then nothing else is going to work. And if you don't believe you can deliver a result for that client, then you're going to wobble, right? You're going to wobble before you even get to sell it. And I guess I'm going to dare myself to do it again. But if I go back to that particular client who just had that launch, what I know from my product, what I know from my mastermind is that I know what my people are going to achieve from working with me inside that mastermind. And yeah, people do make money in my mastermind. There is no doubt about it. This is the point. People do make money in my mastermind. I'm known for that. I'm known for helping my clients make money. But for me, that's not enough for me. I want, by the end of, the time of my clients working with me, I want it to be so easy and so simple. I don't want them second guessing. And so while these results were amazing for my client, that's not the success stick for me. The success stick is, okay, yeah, it worked, but let's do it again so that it feels better, so that it's more aligned, so that you don't have to question changing your messaging halfway through it, because that tells us that we're not there yet. And so this is what my product does, right? It will not just deliver an initial result, but I'm helping people build legacies. I'm excited about that. I'm excited about my client's launch, but I'm more excited about the next one. And so when you look at your offer, are you excited for what this means for your clients? Because I know for me, when a client invests in my mastermind program, it's a stand for who they are and who they're becoming. It's less about me and more about them, right? And it's my job to make sure that I deliver so the experience is everything that they want and more. And I know I can do that. I 100% back everything that I sell because I know I deliver results. Can you say the same? And if you can't, then you have to look at why not. And what I would do is I would modify that product. I would strip it back. I would scale it back. I would make sure that there was not anything in that offer that was going to make me feel, if somebody signs up, I feel like I'm, is it bait and switch, whatever it is. It's like, I feel like, I'm over egging it or whatever, right? Over saucing the pudding. You don't want to do that. You don't need to do that. Be really clear about the outcome. Get excited about what it means when somebody says yes to you and starts working with you. That's the energy that you need around your offers. And if you don't have that, anything you do beyond that is going to feel scattered and it's just not going to work. So if I was going to create a season of winning, I would do the mindset work. I would get really clear about the offer that I was going to sell. That's it. That's the next step. And I would do whatever work I needed to do to make sure that that offer felt like the best thing I'd ever created in my whole life. And I can't wait for people to say yes, because I know what that means for them. Then the next thing that I do from there is I would focus on my messaging, precision messaging that positions me as the only choice, not the cheapest choice, not one of the choices, the only choice. So I would hone my messaging and my voice, and I'd keep it simple in the beginning. If I was still not 100% clear, I'd be figuring out, okay, so what are the 3 to 5 things that I want to talk about? And I can talk about all day long without even worrying about it, without thinking about it, because it's just naturally part of, the conversations that I have that obviously are in relation to your signature offer, right? So I'd get really clear on my messaging. What is my message? When I go online, when I show up, when I'm on the internet leading from a place of feeling very powerful and empowered, what is it that I'm saying? And how does that relate to my offers? How does that get people to reach out to, not get people, how does that inspire people to reach out to me, to sign up for my programs, to follow me on my socials, whatever, right? Your messaging is as important as your offer, because the offer is going to be the immovable object, right? Your offer is the thing that doesn't change. Your messaging is going to be a lot easier and more precise if that offer is locked in. If you're still figuring out offers, don't try and go on the internet and just add to the freaking noise, because you're going to confuse people. Your messaging will be precise when your offer is locked in. So I would look at the offer and I would be saying, okay, so what are the things that I get to talk about in relation to the problem that I solve, which is your offer, right? And simplify it. You don't want to lock yourself in where it's like, I can only ever talk about this one thing or these 2 things or these 3 things. But it's like, I can talk about sales and marketing to the cows come home. I can talk about offer creation to the cows come home. I can talk about monthly recurring revenue to the cows come home. I can talk about creating ad campaigns to the cows come home. There are so many different things and there's so much depth to everything. So when you're thinking about the things that you can talk about, they've got to have scope. You've got to be able to find nuances within each of those content buckets, let's call them. I don't know where I heard that, but I heard it one day. Bucket is like not on brand for me, but you know what I'm saying. So we've done our mindset stuff. We've done our energetic clearing and shifting. We've got our signature offer. We're now developing a messaging strategy around the offer and the problem that we solve. Because if you have one offer that solves one problem, you are going to be ahead of the game. I know there are some multi-talented entrepreneurs out there that like to do 100 different things. I'm not the mentor for you. That just exhausts me and I don't understand it. So it's not really my thing. I like to focus on people who are specialists, experts, masters of their craft. They're my people. All right. So you've got your mindset stuff, your energetic stuff, the offer, the messaging. And then the next thing that you need to do if you want to create a season of winning is to create your sales engine. And actually, let me go back to the messaging for one more second. I feel so in the zone when my message is on point, When my message is so clear, it feels so powerful, it feels so me, everything works in my world when my messaging is flowing freely. And so how I create a winning season, I definitely get the mindset stuff. I'm excited about my product. But for me these days, winning seasons are about how I'm feeling, how connected I'm feeling to the content that I'm creating, and just how easily it flows. If you're feeling stuck around your messaging, if you're overthinking your messaging, if every time you go to write something you abort mission, or every time you go to create a reel you abort mission because it just feels clunky, that tells me that you don't have the clarity around the offer. And that tells me you haven't done the mindset stuff around asking yourself, what era am I entering into on the internet? Who am I? What do I stand for? What is the problem that I'm solving? Who am I here for? What are my core messages? Like, those things make content easy. If your content isn't flowing, you've got to go back to the start, because usually there's a misalignment there, or there's an absolute lack of clarity somewhere. And then from there, if your offer's locked in place and your messaging is on point, then of course it makes sense that we're going to build out your sales system next. And what does that look like? Well, it could be anything, right? It could be a book funnel. It could be a podcast funnel. It could be a masterclass funnel. It could be a live challenge. It could be a live masterclass. It could be any number of things, right? But you get to decide based on who I am and based on my offer and the people that I love to work with, what feels like the most aligned process for moving people from cold traffic to nurturing them, to inspiring them to come and work with me. What feels like the best way to do this? Now, here is where people get stuck. They think there's a set formula, a specific formula. They think because something's working for somebody, it's going to work for them. And that's not always the case. That's why cut and paste funnels rarely work the way that you think they're going to work, because this has to come from you. And this is why my clients create marketing and sales engines that work, because I'm not saying copy what I do and go and do it. I'm helping them to understand and get excited about this sales system. I want the sales system for my clients to feel as good as the offer itself. I want the whole thing to be a luxe, high-end, exciting experience for the people that come into their world. So that's going to be where a lot of your work goes, right? And you might try something. You might go, okay, I'm going to run a free masterclass, and I'm going to run paid traffic to the masterclass, and then I'm going to show up live on the masterclass, and then I'm going to do whatever, right? You can do that, and it might feel really aligned, and it might work 100% perfectly the first time. Or if you're normal, like the vast majority of the people on the internet, it is not going to be the thing that works the first time. Well, it might work. It just might not be working to the scale that you want it to, because you haven't had the resources to invest into the ads, for example. Maybe your lead cost is a little bit high because you haven't quite nailed the messaging. Maybe you're attracting not quite the right people. But the problem is, most people are not going to be patient enough with the system, because any system will work. It's just going to be a matter of figuring out where the problem lies, right? And I have done previous podcasts around, there's one that I did around diagnosing the right problem, or misdiagnosing, or something along those lines. And it's where, for example, somebody will run a free masterclass and they will have, 30 people registered for the masterclass, and they might have 2 people show up, and then they might not get a sale, right? And so they'll be like, well, this doesn't work. And they want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. But what's the problem is that when you run a masterclass, those percentages are normal, right? They're normal. So if you want a sale, then you probably need 100 people registered or 200 people registered so that you have 20 people that show up on the masterclass so that you are able to achieve that 1 or 2 sales. And so there might not be anything wrong at all with the entire funnel. The masterclass might be perfect. The the way that you close sales on that call, however you do, whether you get people onto I keep saying get, that's so gross. You move people into a call, right? And then you're able to have a conversation about whether your offer is a good fit, and the sale happens or doesn't happen from that conversation. But if you're saying to yourself, well, that masterclass didn't work, I'm not going to do that, I'm going to try something different, then you rob yourself of the ability to find out whether this thing actually can work. Because if you created it and it felt aligned, then there's a good chance that it will work. It's just that you don't have the numbers. And so the problem isn't a masterclass problem. The problem is a volume problem. And so how do you solve a volume problem? You invest more or you hustle harder, right? If you want to fill a masterclass and you have zero ads budget, and you're going to have to work a whole lot harder to achieve that than you are if you have money to spend on ads, right? We're not talking about thousands. We're talking about a few $100s. And in the high ticket space, you don't need a lot of people to make a lot of money. And so, yeah, the sales system is going to be the thing that takes probably the most time to build and refine and get right. But you're not going to get there by chasing bright, shiny objects and chopping and changing and stopping and starting and throwing things out and starting again without truly testing something. That's the biggest challenge that I see. And so I'm currently enrolling people for my free challenge, right? And as they come into the Facebook group, I'm asking them questions. And the third question, I'm pretty sure it's multiple choice, and it's asking about their marketing. And the number one answer at the moment is I've tried a lot of different things, but nothing feels clean and scalable yet. And that is, why did I ask that question in the first place? Because I know that that's what a lot of you are doing. You're chopping and changing and trying too many different things. And if I were to create a season of winning, I would do all of those things. Now, when you've got your high ticket offer, you don't need a funnel. You don't need to run a challenge. You don't need to do all of those things to make a sale. People that come into my mastermind, we're not doing this for, a little while. But the initial sales come because the clarity drops. The offer is so powerful and potent. The messaging is so precise that suddenly the people that are in my clients' communities already, they start to pay attention and they start to get excited and they start to buy. And so that generates the revenue required to run, ads and things like that. So you don't need to go straight into the sales engine thing and investing money and building out things like that. But you will go a long way. You will create a season of winning if you do that mindset, energetic stuff, and you create an offer that you just can't wait to sell because you know the impact it's going to have for your clients, and then your messaging is on point. You can make sales from that, and then you get to build out your sales system. But you're going to get momentum because the clarity drops, the offer is so potent, your messaging is so powerful. Suddenly people are paying attention. Suddenly you're different. You're showing up differently because the clarity is there. Clarity is very, very powerful. And when you have clarity, it's like the handbrake is taken off, right? When you have clarity, suddenly you're not overthinking everything. You're not second guessing everything. You're just showing up really powerfully. And people notice that. They really do notice that. And then you get to build out that sales system while you're in this energy of success. Because while you're riding high, and you're making those big sales, that is the best time to get in there and start to build out your sales system because you're winning. And everything you create from that place is also going to win. All right. That's it. But keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate things. One signature offer that focuses on MRR, monthly recurring revenue, if you can do that. If you don't know how to do that, you need me, right? And then precision messaging. This is after you've done the mindset stuff, then start building out that sales system. But as I say, you only need those first 3 things to create a season of winning. Knowing who you are, clearing out your energetic clutter, feeling unencumbered by all of that, feeling like you've just, let drop the weight and suddenly you're expanding and elevating and you're going up, up, up. That offer messaging, and just keep showing up powerfully, knowing that you're here to claim your place on the internet. You are entitled to a place at the table, and you've got to show up like you mean it. And then you get to build that sales system while you're in that zone. That's it. That's all I got to say. Bit of a long one today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will speak to you next week. Don't forget to sign up for the challenge if you haven't done it yet. I'll see you soon. Oh, also, I would really love it if you would share this podcast, I never say this, with anyone who you feel would love to hear it. I would love it if you left me a review, all those things. Share it, like it, send me some love. Let me know on my Insta DMs that you've listened to it, and share anything that comes up for you. All right, that's it. Bye.